Hey, peace. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, give honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Give a double honor to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. Give a double honor to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. All right, we're going to be going into, a discussion. We're going to be talking about prophecy. And we're going to be talking about a lot of topics. But one of the things that I wanted to discuss kind of briefly, and I was going to talk about this, later on, I was going to talk about this. I was going to talk about, by a man by the name of Marquette, how he's going on the internet and he's basically saying a lot of things about, a lot of pioneers that have, helped a lot of our people during the 50s and the 60s. And, one of the guys that, I'm talking about that he got an issue with is Malcolm X. And like I said, I'm going to be going over this, in the latter date. But, it was interesting on how he said that Malcolm X was basically an egotistical maniac, and that he wasn't a good speaker and all this type of stuff. And a lot of these podcaster dudes, they make a lot of these statements is because, it's really safe. The internet is really a safe haven for a lot of people like that. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that I wish anything bad on the brother, but we gotta start to hold a lot of these guys' foot to the fire when they make certain statements about people that basically, when you go into Malcolm X's history, he's one of the ones that really put the board in a lot of our people's back to be able to speak truth to power the way that he did. He was a very educated man. He educated himself. Well, he went to college and prison, you know what I'm saying? But, he educated himself. He was a reader. He was a spokesman. And he was kind of like the bad guy that everybody had to look to in terms of what was going on in the black struggle, So when I hear a brother like that say disparaging words about Malcolm X because of content and he wants to big up another person, that says something about a person's character already. And I already had I was kind of looking at him a certain type of way anyway. It's because when he first came on, see a lot of them, downing black women in the media, which I agree that some of them need to be chastised, but when you make a career out of that, I kind of look at you funny. So he came on the platform kind of going back and forth with women, in general. And then later on, now he's talking about different people. And like I say, you gotta look at people like that when they make statements like that. You know what I mean? It's because I believe the brother is from Baltimore, and I don't hear him talking about the crime-ridden area over there in Baltimore. I don't see that. But that's what people do, man. But irregardless of what him or anybody else got to say, Malcolm X is his legacy lives on. You know what I mean? And really, his legacy lives on through a lot of us that have heard the brother speak, whether we listen to him on the internet or we do other things. But we know the truth about El-Haj Malik Shabazz, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, we're going to be talking about current events. We're going to be going into scripture. And we're going to be talking about some things. And in the near future, you know, what we're going to be doing is trying to engage people to step up and to have certain things to talk about. But with no further ado, you know, we want to talk about the system. Because, you know, every time that I come out here and I get to talking and things like that, I really don't want to talk about no nonsense. See, I want to talk about the events that's taking place on the world stage. And see, what's going on out here is that, like I always, you know, begin with my topics, is that you see a lot of people. I'm downtown Chicago. You see a lot of people out here, they walking. They enjoying, you know, this the sunny, you know, this is about 80-something degrees, a little cloudy, right? And the people, they out here enjoying themselves. We just really came up out of the winter and the springtime and stuff like that, but really we about to go back into the fall, you know. But the people don't have a clue about what's going on. See, they don't have a clue about what's going on. It's because, you know, we so caught up in the media. See, we worried about the Diddy trial, you know, even though, you know, I may look at it here and there, but that's not really important to me, to the fact that I'm gonna base my whole being off of what this cat is doing or what's going on in the court system. You know what I'm saying? But what it is that a lot of people, they're engaging into a lot of stuff that don't have no bearing. And they don't pay attention to the things that has bearing. So what should we be paying attention to that got bearing? Well, we should be paying attention to the economy, right? We should be paying attention to the wars and things of this nature that's going on in other countries, right? It's because what's going on in these other countries, it's affecting us today. This is why the economy is kind of messed up, right? It's messed up, right? It's because throughout the centuries and the decades, America has put her foot on the other country's neck, and now America is feeling the brunt of the same atrocities, right, that she has committed against other countries, right? So we're talking about the events that's taking place on the world stage, and also we should be paying attention to religion, because you got a lot of prophets, so-called prophets out here. You got a lot of people that's quote unquote prophesying, right? But they're not prophesying in the name of Abraham's God. See, it seems that way. It's because, you know, we living in the times of the Gentiles, right? We living in the times of the Gentiles. So when we talk about this, we're talking about the nation of Israel being in captivity under these other nations, right? And, you know, we had to go back into history and read the scriptures, and you know, we came to the realization that Nebuchadnezzar was not quote unquote a Gentile, right? When we talking about Gentiles, we talking about the seed of Japheth, right? But Israel's captivity, talking about Judah, dealing with the four beasts, it starts with Nebuchadnezzar, right? So from Nebuchadnezzar all the way down to the European common market system, you know, our people been in captivity 2,000, I think, 500 and something years. You know, they've been in captivity. So what's taking place is, what we're looking at is the fall of the system. And like I said, the people today, they're not worried about what's going on. And even if they are worried about those type of things, so they pay attention to what's going on, do you understand what the Creator is saying in the earth amongst men? See? And that's the whole thing. A lot of people, they don't understand what the Creator is talking about in the affairs of men. And as a result of that, there's a lot of people that's going to they're going to be destroyed because of this, right? It's because if you can't hear what the Creator is talking about, then how are you going to be able to survive? See, how are you going to be able to survive the onslaught that's going to happen in the affairs of men? It's because, let me tell you something, brothers and sisters, they not building nuclear weapons just to have nuclear weapons. They're going to use those nuclear weapons. And one of the targets that I'm talking about, the other nations that they're going to use nuclear weapons is against America. See? And now the Creator has done what? The Creator has advanced these nations technologically, right? The Creator has advanced these nations technologically so that they can be able to stand toe to toe with America. See? Back in the day, America could put sanctions on other countries and it will cripple their economy. But now, she put sanctions on certain people, like Russia, China, right? It's not crippling their economy, right? It's not crippling their economy. So they say, hey, okay, we can't use our goods and our services over here in America. Let's go to Germany. Let's go to France. Let's go to these different countries. Let's China and Russia, let us do business with each other. So the grip that America had on these countries, I'm talking about the countries like China and Russia. See, back in the day, America had a grip on these countries, but now she don't have a grip on them anymore. And why is that? It's because that's the arm of the Creator coming against the American system. So the first scripture that I want to look at is, I want to look at 2nd Ezra, the 4th chapter, and the 37th verse. It says, by measure have he, it says, by measure have he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times. And he doeth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. So the Creator saying in this verse, it says, by measure have he measured the times. And see, that's what's going on today. Are people measuring the times that's going on in the affairs of man today? No, they not. See? No, they not. You know, my lady, she has an affinity now to go to church, right? But here it is. I've been preaching the gospel for 20-some years. But you know, she would rather go to the church and hear a person preach a false gospel. And what is the gospel? Let's look at that. Let's turn. Let's see what the gospel. And that's why you know, that's why I say, have ye measured the times? Do we know the times that we dealing with today? And most of us don't. Let's look at this. Let's turn to Isaiah, book of Isaiah. Let's turn to the 30th chapter of the book of Isaiah. Let's see something real quick. Because this is the mindset of the people, right? I think they said. Yeah. So like I said before, you know, my girl said, well, Sunday, you know, I'm gonna go to church and stuff like that. And I'm not ragging on the people, right? Because you got some wonderful people that's in all walks of life, contrary to popular belief. But what I'm saying is that what is the guy in the church today? What is he talking about in the church? Because most of these Negroes, these black folks, when they're in the church, in the Christian church, what do they talk? They talking about prosperity. See, they talk about prosperity doctrine. That's what they talking about, right? Or they talking about getting close to Jesus and all, but they don't even know that Jesus is basically the pagan sun god that has usurped the Israelite narrative. See, that's what I'm saying. Can we measure the times that we living in? And most people, they can't do that. See, they can't measure the times that we living in. And why is that? The major reason why we can't measure the times is because the Creator ain't talking to you. The Creator ain't talking to you like that. So you can't draw people to you unless the Creator opens up their understanding. So irregardless, and let me hit you with something. We got people that's in this way of life. They profess to be Hebrew Israelites, right? You know, they like to call us black Hebrew Israelites, but they profess to be Israelites, and they themselves don't know what they're talking about, right? So the scripture says what? Isaiah 30:10, which say to the seers, because, you know, the seers are basically prophets. They the ones that's supposed to get the information from the Creator and disseminate it to the people, right? So this is what the people are saying to the seers, which is the spiritual leaders that's amongst them, right? This is what they saying. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at the 9th verse. That this is a rebellious people, lying children. Children that will not hear the law of the Creator. See? And that's us today. See? That's the so-called Negro. We don't want to hear the law of the Creator. Like I say, I've been dealing with my girl almost 20 years. She'd rather hear the law of the so-called white man, other than hearing the law that's coming from the Creator. They gonna question that. Sister, you shouldn't celebrate Easter. You shouldn't celebrate Christmas. You shouldn't deal with Sunday worship, right? Why we celebrating the 4th of July as a holiday, and here it is, when the people got their independence from Britain, we were slaves in the country. I think it was 1776. Why are we following these things? Why are we dealing with Juneteenth? Why are we doing this? Why are we dealing with Christmas? Why are we dealing with Easter? The resurrection? Why are we doing this? That's why the Creator said what? That we are a rebellious people. And this is why the nations don't respect us. Right? This is why the nations don't respect us. This is why we're not a nation of people, right? We wandering mountain to hill. We calling ourselves foundational Black Americans now, right? We calling ourselves foundational Black Americans. We African Americans. We colored folk. We black. See? And why is that? It's because these are the curses and the marking points that you will see the nation of Israel in a deplorable situation. Even though we have made a lot of strides since coming up out of what you would call physical slavery, but now we in what you would call a mental slavery. See, we're in a mental slavery. You know, what shows that you're in a mental slavery? It's because let's look at this case in point. A person that's in a mental slavery is a person, right, that will ask for reparations, and then said that if the man give you reparations, instead of you leaving the country, going back to Africa, right, and trying to get you some land out in Africa and build in Africa, you want to stay over here and help a person that destroys your ancestors continue to build up their economy. That's a person that is what? He's destroyed. See? So when we listen to people like Tariq Nasheed, we looking at a lot of these people that are brilliant. See, Tariq Nasheed, he write books, he done did documentaries. The boy got talent, but he's destroyed, man. It's because if you don't know who you are from a nationalistic standpoint of view, where are you going? So you're gonna get this reparations. You're going to take the reparations money, and then we call it, quote unquote, we come together and then we start to build in our own community. But you still feeding the monster. You know, when they say you got cancer, they say one of the things that you shouldn't feed cancer is processed food, or what you would call processed sugar. You know, you shouldn't be eating starch and all this type of when you got cancer, because what are you doing? You feeding it. So how we continue to feed the cancer, which is America, is that we're still dumping, we still talking about dumping fiat currency into the system. See, that's how you still feeding it. And you steady feeding it, it's not shrinking, right? It's continue to grow. Now, you know, we saying things like, well, I'm not an African, I'm a foundational Black American. What is that? Because my ancestors, I can trace my ancestors here, right? From the 1500s. So, what that mean? Because you could trace your ancestors from the 1500s. But what was they doing in the 1500s? They were slaves. They weren't in control of anything. And then you got a lot of us, right? We'll make a statement. We'll say, well, we was already here, which is true. A lot of us were here, right? But check this out, though. You had certain black people that was free in this country. They had slaves too. They benefited off the fact when they was bringing Judah, Levi, and Benjamin over here, they was getting money too. So if you're a foundational black American and your ancestors, you can trace your history all the way back to the 1500s, the 1400s, where some of your people, some of the people that was buying slaves and using the slaves the same way as the so-called white man. See, we got to start to examine that. Since you so proud of being in the country, and why was you taken down? See, most people talk about, oh, we was conquered and that's how things go. No, there's a reason why you was conquered. We're conquered because we was conquerors ourselves, and a lot of us was disobedient to the planet. That's why you get conquered. Because how is it that Egypt is a flourishing society, right? Everything America and a lot of these countries they getting it from Egypt and other civilizations, right? But if Egypt was so great, why was Egypt taken down? Why is Egypt not here anymore? Why you don't have the original people in the land over there in Egypt no more? The country of Egypt, the city of Egypt is ran by Arabs. See? They done pushed the blacks up out of those lands and they put themselves in those lands. Right? So these are the things that we need to look at. But let's continue, right? Because this is the mentality of our people today. So it says, the 10th verse, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. See, and who did that fit today? That fit our people. See, that fit our people because see, we don't want to say that we're Israelites. Now we want to talk about being what you would call foundational black Americans. Right? Your grandparents was forced into Christianity. Then you turn around today and say you're a Christian. And you proud to be a Christian. You will never see a Jewish person after Hitler supposedly took down 5 million Jews. You'll never see a Jewish person reading Mein Kampf or practicing the ideology of Hitler. You know why? It's because of what happened to their ancestors. So you know what, our people don't celebrate these holidays, they celebrate them anyway. And then they go into these churches, and the churches don't put no type of restraints on them. They say, they don't tell the people what thus says the Most High. They telling people what they want to hear, because why? What you want to hear makes you feel good. You would never hear Pastor Hannon, T.D. Jakes, none of these big time preachers, you would never hear them in the church telling you don't celebrate Christmas. Well, Pastor Hannon, why you don't want us to celebrate Christmas? Because Christmas goes back to the worship system of Tammuz. Why you don't want us to celebrate Easter? Because Easter goes back to Tammuz and Nimrod and Semiramis. Why you telling us don't celebrate the new year, January the 1st? Because that goes into paganism. You'll never hear these teachers talking like this. And a lot of them, they know this truth. But because you know why they're not going to tell you? It's because a lot of them are following the same structures and the belief systems that is considered pagan, and that's against the Creator. And the people, they don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear a feel-good message. You know, God is so good. You know, I know God woke you up this morning. Yes, He did, Pastor. He woke me up this morning, Pastor. He put food on the table. He put clothes on my back, Pastor. When you're going through trials and tribulations, all you got to do is believe in God. See, yes, Pastor. All we got to do is believe in God. Hallelujah. See, that's all people want to hear. And he go through some little scriptures and stuff like that. He may have about 2 or 3 scriptures lined up. He done talk for about an hour. But he ain't talking about the events that's taking place on the world stage. He ain't talking about that. See? He's not talking about racism in the country. Right? They're not talking about that. You know why? It's because they're a part of it. So, you know, the scripture says what? 30 and 10. Which say to the seers, see not, and the prophets prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. See, and what is that? Tell us things that's contrary to the word of Yah. See, that's what deceit is. That's why the Creator said in the 9th verse, see, they the nation of Israel, they don't want to obey my law. And that's the mentality of us today. See, we don't want to obey the Creator. But now we living over here in modern day Babylon. We don't even know the Creator. We don't know the Creator. See, we don't know the Creator. And this is what I'm saying. The Most High right now is gathering His people. See? So irregardless of what people got to say, man, this country is going to be destroyed, man. And a lot of these people is going to be destroyed with it. Because of their inability to measure, because of their inability to not to be able to measure the times that they living in. You know, what is the times that we living in? The times that we living in is the fulfillment of the times of the Gentiles. Let's look at something. Let's turn to Luke 21, 24. Luke 21, 24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. And who is that? That's the nation of Israel. See, the Israelites today are still in captivity because they got to fulfill, quote unquote, Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. With the Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter has already been fulfilled, right? So here it is. We got to be led away captive into all nations. What is the Mashiach talking about? He's talking about future events of Titus coming in and ransacking Jerusalem, and later on, our people going into what they would call we're going to be into the interiors of Africa. See, we're going to be all up and down in the interiors of Africa. See, that's where we're going to be at, right? And then later on, we're going to start to, we're going to start to migrate to different parts of Africa. And then we're going to be out throughout the diaspora, and not just Africa. We're going to be all over the place. See, we're going to be all over the place. And then later on, what's going to happen? We're going to deal with the transatlantic slave trade. See, that's what we're going to be dealing with. So, the Messiah, he says what? And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And this is what we are today, see? Because what is the Messiah talking about? He's talking about from the time of Nebuchadnezzar all the way down to the European common market system of today, see? Of today. That's what he's talking about. And the Messiah saw that our people was going to be brought over here during the transatlantic slave trade. And they're going to lose the knowledge of self. Right? Because when he was speaking like this, Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter wasn't even fulfilling, it wasn't even wholly fulfilled yet. So when we're looking at this, brothers and sisters, can we understand the times that we're living in? See, a lot of us don't understand the times that we're living in. We can't measure the times. A lot of these folks out here that's standing out here in the streets, they having a wonderful day out, they hanging out, they doing all these things, but they don't even understand it's going to come one day where they're going to start committing terrorist acts in the country, right? And you're going to have a lot of these people, they're going to be in grave fear. They're going to be in grave fear. It's because the country, they had never been through nothing like this before. And the news, they always say this. They say, well, we got sleeper cells in the country. And that's absolutely true. Because you got people that's in the country, they're working for their country while they over here. They taking intel, they have little mediocre jobs, whether they run their own business or, or they working a regular job. And it's gonna come a time where they're gonna start doing suicide missions in this country. It's because this is the face of the Creator, right? That's going to be amongst the people. So let me try to find this scripture real quick, right? See if I can find it. If I can't, then I'm gonna just leave it be. It's a scripture that I particularly want to look at because it speaks to our people, right? The people that say that they can't wait till Jesus come back, right? Even though Jesus not coming back because there's no such thing as that. You can't even translate Yahshua into Jesus, right? So the book of Amos, the 5th chapter and the 18th verse, it says, woe unto you that desire, it says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. See? Because, a lot of us, we talk about, we waiting on Jesus to come back. See? But let's say hypothetically that Jesus is coming back, right? Now you gotta question who he's coming back and how is he coming back, right? Because it says, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord." So for the people that desire the day of the coming of the Lord, a lot of them is gonna be judged. A lot of them is gonna be judged because it continue to say, "And to what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light." So what is that talking about? That's talking about destruction. So you got you got a lot of people, they talking about that they can't wait till Jesus coming back. You know, the Lord and all this type of stuff. But the Most High said, "Woe unto you that desire the day of my coming." So why is he saying that? The Most High is saying that is because why? It's not gonna be pretty for you when I come back. Because when the Most High comes back, right, he's coming for the people that's gonna be doing his will in the earth. See, he's not coming for everybody. And that's what people, they don't understand that. See, here's the thing, and that goes for me and everybody else. See, this is how we thinking. I remember one time, right, I was listening to my lady, her father, right, and, he's an older man now. So he say, "Man, I gotta start going to church and doing certain things because I'm much older now." You know what I'm saying? My time on the earth is, I'm in my 60s. I'm about to be in my 70s. So my time on the earth is short. So now I want to put down a lot of the stuff that I was doing and follow after the Creator, because when I die, I want to go into the pearly gates. And that's the mentality of most people, right? They think that they gonna stop being a nigga in the world, when they get older, so that they can go into the pearly gates. But what is that? That's deceit, y'all. That's deceit. And that's why the scripture says what? "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Most High. To what end is it for you? For the day of the Most High is darkness and not light." And that's what I'm saying. Are we measuring the times that we living in today? Are we paying attention to the events that's taking place on the world stage? Do we really comprehend what the Creator is saying in the earth today? It's because when we're looking at the countries, the people, the nations, they're in war with each other. This is the Creator. What is he doing? He's speaking to the world. See? He's speaking to the world. But there's only a few people that's really going to grasp what the Creator is talking about. It's just like how you listen to a song, right? A lot of us listen to songs. We just listen to the song for the beat. The lyrics may be a little catchy. But are we really paying attention to what the people are really saying in the lyrics? And what is the lyrics? What does the lyrics of the song, what does that really mean? See, are we really paying attention to G Herbo when he's talking about something, are we paying attention to what he's talking about? A lot of us do listen to what he's talking about, and what we do, we take heed to what he's saying. And then you got a lot of people that listen to G Herbo and a lot of these different rappers, they just listen to it for the beat. They don't understand what he's saying or what he mean when he's saying what he's saying. And that's the same thing with the creator. See, a lot of us don't understand what the creator is doing in the earth. When we see China and Russia, you know, they prepared to defend Iran. See, we don't understand what's going on with that. We don't understand the fact that why the United States is continuing to assassinate the scientists of Iran. We don't know that because we've been listening to another song. Because the song that we've been listening to that speaks to that is that the reason why we coming against Iran like this is because Iran is harboring nuclear weapons, right? And we got to stop them from doing this is because if they get a hold to an atomic bomb, then they're going to do what? They're going to use it on people. But you don't even ask the question. Hold on, brother. You got nuclear weapons. You got nuclear bombs. How is it that you can have nuclear bombs and they can't have nuclear bombs? They're a sovereign nation. They got their own country. And nuclear bombs, atomic energy is not just used for making a bomb, right? You can do stuff with the gas and all type of stuff. You can do a lot of things with atomic energy. It's not just for being able to use it to make a bomb. So now you got to question that. So the real reason why they want to come against Iran is because they don't want Iran to build themselves up technologically. See, they don't want them to be able to do that. It's because America put sanctions on Iran. And they're mad at the Democrats, the Republicans, because up under the regime of Barack Obama, they allowed Iran to be able to use their centrifuges, but they couldn't use it to 100%, maximum power. So like now, every couple of years, they continue to use their centrifuges. But if they wanted to get a bomb, they could get a bomb from Russia, just like that. Russia would give that to them. But the real reason why they doing this is because, see, they don't want countries that have had a reputation of coming against America to be able to advance themselves. That's really the real reason. But what is the underlying situation of that? The underlying situation of that is what? That's really the eye of the Creator. That's really the Creator coming against America. So when we start talking about how America, how the elites is gonna fight the Creator, this is how they gonna fight the Creator. They're gonna fight the Creator by trying to fight against the people that the Creator has ratcheted up against them, right? Let's see if we got some more meat on the bone, right? 5th chapter of the book of Amos, the 16th verse. It says, for the day of Yah, the power of hosts, Yah saith thus, dwelling shall be in all streets, And all they shall say in the hallways, alas, alas, and they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing. And in all vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass through these, saith the Most High. And where do we see that today? We see that in these countries. See, we see that type of behavior in the countries because a husbandman is a builder. See, he's considered what you would call a farmer, a builder. So this is, where do we see well in that? We see it in Ukraine. We see it over there in Pakistan. We see it over there in the state of Israel. See, there's great mourning amongst the people. And what is the Creator doing? He's passing these people back. It's because a lot of these people that's being destroyed, they don't have the seal of the Most High in their forehead. See, they still talking about Islam. That's why I say it's a terrible thing to be caught in the hands of the Most High. It's a terrible thing to be caught in the hands of the Most High. It's because if you're caught in the hands of the Most High or the web of the Most High, you can't get out. You can't get out the web. You see insects. I was looking at something on Facebook. The guy was doing a little, he was talking about how a spider caught this fly. The fly was 10 times bigger than the spider. And he caught the fly in his web. And every time the spider come over there, the fly, he jumping up and down, he tried to get away. But he couldn't get away. And he was like, man, what type of hog time is he that he done did to the fly, because it don't matter what the fly did, he couldn't get out that web, Joe. He couldn't get up out that web. And that's what's going on with the human family. That's not that's under the web of destruction of the Creator. It don't matter what they do. They gonna be destroyed, man. It's because the human family has rebelled against the Most High, man. We eat anything. When we lay down and have sexual intercourse with our women, we have dirty sex. Men have dirty sex with other men. Women have dirty sex with other women. You got people, they polluting the planet. They want to tear up the water. You can't even drink water today. They done tore up the fruit. You can't drink fruit today. They know that the grapes is supposed to have seeds in them. But what they do is they shrink the seed. They shrink the seed all the way down so that you can't really see it. It's in there, but it's so small. You can't really see you can't see the seed that is in the grape. You can't see the seed that is in the watermelon. It's because they have used another form of farming that is detrimental to the people, whereas I'm gonna shrink the seed that's in the watermelon and the grape. I'm gonna shrink it so small that you're not gonna be able to see it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all the seeded grapes out of the store. It's because it's cheaper for me to give you these seeded grapes, these seedless grapes, then giving you natural grapes that's going to help you in the future. This is the mentality of the so-called white man. And then when we sit back, right, and we talk about these things, we say that the white man is the devil, then people, they want to come against you, right? They want to come against you. And here it is, when we make a statement like that, you say, hey, yeah, you know, the white man is the devil. Well, why do you say that? Why you say that the white man is the devil? They saying that the white man is the devil is because of why? It's because of his behavior in the earth. That's why they saying that. It's because he has destroyed the food. The food that we're eating today is destructive to us. That's why, you know, we got these big stomachs. It's because, you know, when you eat something, you're supposed to go to the bathroom. We're not even going to the bathroom like we should. That's why we're leading in this country. We're one of the leaders in prostate cancer and cancer in general. See? It's because we're not going to the bathroom properly. The water, it may seem like the water is good, but in actuality, the water is polluted. The mentality of the people is polluted. The women, they dress like anything, right? They go outside, they got on shorts with their cheeks hanging out. And then they get mad at you when you try to talk to them. Man, why are you talking to me? You know? This is the mentality of the country. That's why we say that America is Babylon the Great, but it's not just the white man that's the devil. Humanity is the devil. It's because we're doing things that's contrary to the Creator. So this is why the Creator is wreaking havoc on the human family, is because what? It's because we're not serving the Creator right. We're not standing on truth, justice, and honor when it comes to the Most High. We're not standing on that. And when we stand on those type of principles, you're going to have a lot of people, they're going to be against you when you stand on those principles. You know, you celebrate Easter. I don't want to celebrate Easter no more. I don't want to celebrate none of these holidays no more. Your family, they looking at you like you crazy. You tell people on your job, you know, I don't celebrate that no more. They looking at you like you crazy. They gonna put you in a certain type of box, right? You know, if you was a person that was out here in the street doing a lot of things that was wrong, let's say if you was a homosexual, right? You used to be a homosexual. Then the Most High opened up your understanding. You put down that behavior. Then, you know, all your homosexual friends, they stop dealing with you because you don't do the man-on-man thing no more. Because, you know, the Most High he worked miracles through men just like he worked miracles through women. Because you have had women that used to be women on woman, and not, you know, they don't engage in that type of behavior no more. Right? And what is that? That's a miracle. That's a miracle that has been done in the face of man, but people don't even see it that way. So the point that I'm making is that once you give up something for the Creator, that's why the Creator said, what? You got to become what? A human sacrifice, man. You got to be able to sacrifice your lifestyle to be able to, you know, to be acceptable towards the Creator. Because now the Creator, He's not looking for us to sacrifice turtle doves and lambs. He wants us to sacrifice our behavior before Him. And that's going to be a difficult thing to do. So that being said, brother, we're going to cut this short little lesson off on to the next Death to America.